Hey guys, it's Austin from Second Life Sneakers. Finally back with part 4 of the sole swap that we're doing. So this is the 2003 black NYCs. In our last video, we took our air units and we shaved them down to size so that the uppers would fit correctly into the soles. And now we need to start putting the pieces together. So the first thing that we're going to do here, we'll put the uppers to the side for a second. And we need to get the air units put into the sole. Now you probably, it fits tight enough that you probably could get away with just putting them in there, but I always glue them in just in case. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. We got our barge cement super stick. I just ordered a new can, so I've got some fresh barge coming soon. And then we're just gonna lay this onto the bottoms of our air units. Make sure you spread it out so you get a good even coating. Turn this fan off, like blowing the barge smell straight into my face. Alright, so our bottoms are covered. We're going to do the sides now. Okay. Let's set that to the side for a second. And I will do this part. Go ahead and put on gas mask. I don't like the way that's smelling.
When you do this back half, you're gonna see this like lattice pattern, and you want to make sure that you get every part of that to get it as secure as possible. Because this is gonna be a bit of a weak spot since you've got so many pockets here where it's not going to be making any contact. So at the points that do make contact, you want to make sure that everything is covered here. Okay, so that's one half done. We'll set it to the side, and we're gonna let that dry for a little bit, and go ahead and get started on our other. You gotta be really careful not to drop it here while it's wet. Hopefully I don't drop it right after saying that. Just realized on this other sole I forgot to do the sides like we did on the air units. But no big deal, we can do it now and it'll be fine. Okay, so now we put glue or barge on.
Oh, let me take this off. We've put our barge on every piece here. We're gonna leave them for about 15 to 20 minutes. That might vary, but as a general rule, that should be fine. And we're gonna wait, and we're letting this this barge cement dry out a bit. And then once it's dried, we're gonna take these and we're gonna fit them into the soles here, and then we'll heat from the top, and some of that heat will travel through to the bottom and activate the glue, and then we'll be able to bond it. And then once we've done that, we'll go ahead and we'll lay another layer of adhesive, the barge, on top here, and then we'll get the uppers put on. So we'll take a little break here. I'm gonna pause it, and then we'll wait 15-20 minutes, and then we'll come back and set everything into place. So be right back. Okay, so we've waited, we let these dry a little bit. I think they're ready now. So now we're just gonna put them into our soles. Usually line the toe up and then push the back in. That looks pretty good. So if it seems like a good fit, you go ahead and push down, and if it doesn't seem like a good fit, you take it out and try to refit it. But I feel pretty good about how that one went. It's pretty snug all the way around. And then we'll put this in just to make sure, brace with our knee. And yeah, that looks to be fitting in nicely. So this one is fitted the way that we want. We take our heat gun, put it on full blast. Okay, now I'm gonna take a towel because I think it's gonna be pretty hot, and we're just gonna push down. Try to get a really strong bond there. You can go ahead and clamp the side with your hand. Okay, it's not as hot as I thought. We'll just keep pushing down, keep putting pressure on it. good there. We're gonna go ahead and fit the other side. See if I can get the back a little lower. Yeah. The back looked like it wasn't pushed all the way down. I'll fit it just to make sure. Nah, that looks good. So y'all can see too. Obviously it doesn't look like a perfect fit, but the blue line ends right where it's supposed to, and it's pretty even all the way around. So I would say that one's a success. We'll go ahead and heat this. Alright, we got it in there. It's nice and secure. Push down a few more times just to make sure, but it looks like a really nice fit. So now we want to put our uppers back onto our soles. So this next part is where a lot of people's process varies. So typically I will put the barge on both the uppers and the soles, and then wait maybe like an hour or so for it to completely dry, and then I'll fit it however I want, and then heat it from the inside and clamp it that way. One of the big variations here in process is the amount of time that you wait after laying the barge cement on. I've heard some people that do good work wait up to like a day, 24 hours. And I did put that to the test recently, and it worked about as well as an hour. So really, it's kind of a bit of preference here on how long you want to wait for your barge to cure after you've put it on. For this pair, I am about to wrap up for the night, so we're gonna go ahead and lay it on, and then I'm gonna leave it overnight, and we're gonna bond it in the morning, and then tomorrow I'll also stitch it as well, and so we'll do both those parts tomorrow, and then we'll do the final touches on the next day. So that's how we'll probably do these, but yeah, a lot of variation in process there. A lot of people will take both sides and heat each side and then put them on. You do get more direct heat to your adhesive if you do it that way, but the flip side of that is that you have to fit it perfectly if you do it that way. Like if you heat both sides and you make a little bit of contact with the edge like that, it's gonna clamp immediately, and then you have to pull it and basically re-prep and redo everything. So the reason why I really like to let everything dry and then heat from the inside while I've already got it fitted is because I have a lot more control over the fitment at that point. And so I can make sure that everything is completely aligned, make sure the holes are lining up, and really make sure that it's looking as close to the original fitment as possible before going ahead and heating and reattaching. So that trick will save you a lot of time. We'll get into that in a little bit. Right now I'm just going to go ahead and lay all the adhesive on, and then we'll set it up for the curing process, and that'll be the end of our video today after we're done with that. And then I'll get after it tomorrow with the bonding and the stitching. So let's go ahead and get into it. They are some kind of bug just flew past my head. Got the door cracked for the ventilation, but it's all good. We're gonna get into it. So for this, again, make sure that you have a nice even coat. The adhesive bar cement acts a lot like a film, so you want it to be a nice even film, and then when they make contact once heated, those two sides will really latch onto each other and you'll get a nice strong bond. Something I have thought about experimenting with but I haven't tried yet is I've thought about doing just this part, like the air unit, and just here, and not doing the sides first, and then just getting the fitment first and then doing the sides second. And the reason for that is I generally struggle the most with getting the sides to clamp up firmly, like to bond completely. Not so much like right at the side, but just making sure that there's no separation at all and that it's a really clean line. Usually I'll have to go back in and fix up the glue line after the stress test a little bit, and sometimes I wonder if doing this first and then worrying about the sides after would create a stronger bond. So we'll probably play with that in another video, but for this one I'm going to go ahead and just do it how I know how to do it, because this has worked for over 100 pairs before this one. But it's always good to experiment with your processes still. You never know what you can learn. It's always good to ask questions with other people that restore. Another thing that could potentially make it hard for your shoe to seal on the sides is if you haven't done your prep work. Now that's not the problem that I ever have, because I do very thorough prep work, but if you are having trouble getting everything to seal, that's something that you should consider. Just make sure that you're getting all of the old adhesive off before putting anything new on, because if you don't put in the full effort and do it the right way and get everything off, it's really going to weaken the bond. and your swap will fail. Okay, so we got that one set. Go ahead and do this part. Now when doing the uppers, you want to be a bit more careful than when doing the sole. If you get some excess glue on the sole, not really a big deal. It's pretty stain resistant. It's pretty easy to get excess glue off. So you don't really have to be too careful when you're laying it on. Like, you want to make sure that you get a nice even layer, but you don't have to worry about going over basically. But with this, with the upper, you need to be careful not to drip any of your glue onto the upper. With leather, it's not as much of a problem because it can be lifted off relatively easily, but certain materials, it will stain if it drips on, and you can end up creating an even bigger problem than the swap. So if you're new to it, really good to just take your time. I mean, even if you're not new to it, it's best to take your time, but especially when you're just getting like all these processes into a rhythm, and if you're working with a valuable shoe, you know, be really careful. Okay. And again, can't stress enough, make sure that you get nice even coverage all the way. And start laying it on the sides. And this is where you gotta be really careful that you don't accidentally raise the previous glue line. So we only want to glue or put glue where it previously was. We don't want to get it any higher. We're gonna take a little break for a second because I've got some loose ends on this brush. Just pull them right out. But those loose ends can kind of screw you if they pick up some adhesive and then trail it a little bit further than you're trying to. Alright, so we got that out. We'll get back to putting this on. Here. Okay, that one's done. We're gonna go ahead and just put this back in one of these boxes. Get it out of the way. Same with this. Alright. Halfway there. shoe completely covered. Put this one in here. And now we're done with that part of the process. So now we just wait, and we're gonna wait for that to dry. Like I said, it could really be anywhere between an hour to 24 hours. Sometimes it's kind of a matter of personal preference. I've tested it a lot of different ways, and in that time range, it seems to be pretty consistently effective. So we'll do that one in the morning tomorrow, and then we'll get that one bonded in our next video, and then stitched, and then we'll put the finishing touches on it, and get it ready to send back to our customer. So thank you for watching. I'll be back with part 5 soon. Won't be as long of a wait this time, and I'll see you